Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, can you see the screen, sir? I am able to see from Swapna's share.
Yeah,
Yes,
we are
sir.
able to.
We are
Clear.
able to see.
Now it's not clear. Now it's
Now
not
it's
clear.
1 minute, sir.
Okay, now it's clear.
Now it's clear. Okay,
Fine,
very good.
fine. Okay,
Fine.
then we will catch up at 11:30.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
sir, one thing.
Yes, sir.
I think Hariprasad sir and Swapna madam both are available in this session. We need to introduce both members or only one member.
You can introduce both, sir. We will join
Okay.
today. Yeah, you can introduce both, and from there we will continue for next 2 days.
Okay. Sir Ashwini Kumar sir, any other suggestions?
Yeah, I hope you have received yesterday's clips, Mr. Hari and Madam Swapna.
Yes, sir.
I wanted you to see that clip small product that we have
Sir, Swapna madam,
demonstrated
I
in
think
the last session.
Uh-huh.
Please make some efforts tomorrow for searching for a probable patenting. Of course,
Oh,
once we
sure.
disclose, I am aware that once we disclose, it is not patentable, and I am not expecting a patent out of it now. But just tell the audience that it had a potential for a patent, as on
sir,
yesterday or day before.
Okay.
sorry, sir. Swapna madam not aware of this thing. Only Hariprasad
Yeah,
sir.
please send a clip to Swapna Madam also,
Okay, sir.
Krishna Prasad sir.
Okay, okay, sir.
Madam, you please follow it.
We can definitely, Mr. Ashwin Kumar. Definitely, sir.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
time, madam. Thank you
No
for your
problem,
time,
sir.
Hari Prasad.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
We will join you again at 11:30.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Krishna Prasad, I am taking leave. Shall
Okay,
I?
sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, okay, sir.
సార్ మురళీ సార్
సార్ ఒక్కసారి యూట్యూబ్
చెప్పండి.
ప్లీజ్ 2 minutes వెయిట్ చేయండి మేడం. యూట్యూబ్ ఒక్కసారి చెక్ చేస్తాను ప్లీజ్.
ఓకే ఓకే
జస్ట్ 2
సార్
minutes.
కృష్ణప్రసాద్ సార్
మేడం.
సార్ ఇప్పుడు సార్ది ప్రొఫైల్
ప్రొఫైల్ అడగలేదు కదా. ఓకే మేడం.
ఎందుకంటే లింక్డ్ఇన్ లో రావట్లేదు సార్ అది ఒక్కసారి సార్ ఇప్పుడు ఇద్దరిని ఇప్పుడు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేసేయాలా సార్?
ఒక్కసారి యూట్యూబ్ ఒక్కసారి చెక్ చేస్తాను మేడం ప్లీజ్.
ఓకే సార్. అయితే ఇప్పుడు ప్రొఫైల్ కావాలి కదా. కృష్ణప్రసాద్ సార్ ఇప్పుడు
పంపిస్తాను, ఏర్పాటు చేస్తాను మేడం.
సరే.
నౌ ఇట్స్ ఓకే. రోహిత్ ఉన్నారా లైన్ లో?
ఉన్నాడు మేడం, ఉన్నాడు సార్.
రోహిత్
ఉన్నాడు సార్, చెప్పండి.
రోహిత్, రేపు ఇప్పుడు ఈ సెషన్ యూట్యూబ్ మీరు చెక్ చేసేటప్పుడు, లైవ్ స్ట్రీమింగ్ ఇచ్చేటప్పుడు ఒకసారి స్క్రీన్ సెట్టింగ్స్ అన్ని చెక్ చేసుకోండి మా కరెక్ట్ గా వచ్చేటట్లుగా. అవసరమైతే మొబైల్లో కూడా ఒకసారి ఎట్లా చెక్ చేసి వీడియో ఎట్లా వస్తుందో ఒకసారి చెక్ చేసుకోండి.
మంచిగా వస్తుంది సార్.
సార్ నేను రోహిత్ కాల్ చేసి మాట్లాడతాను. ఓకే సార్.
హలో
సార్ ఇది ఎక్కువ వస్తుంది సార్. ఇది
యూట్యూబ్ కూడా ఓపెన్ చేసి ఉంది కదా సార్, అందుకే ఎక్కువ వస్తుంది. యూట్యూబ్ రన్ అవుతున్నది ప్లస్ ఇది అవుతుంది, అందుకని ఎక్కువ వస్తుంది.
ఓకే ఓకే సరే సార్. ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
మురళీ సార్, నాకు అడ్మిషన్స్ రావట్లేదు సార్. నాకు మీరు పంపించిన మెయిల్ అన్ని నేను ఎస్ అని క్లిక్ చేశాను. మీరు పంపించిన పాత అడ్రస్ కూడా క్లిక్ చేశాను నేను.
ఇప్పుడు పంపాను చూడండి మెయిల్, మళ్ళీ వచ్చింటది.
మళ్ళీ ఒకటి మెయిల్ వచ్చింటదా? ఇప్పుడు అదేం చేయాలి నేను?
ఒకవేళ రాకపోతే నేనే అడ్మిట్ చేస్తుంటాను. మీరే ఫస్ట్ లాగిన్ అయి ఉండండి. మీరే ఫస్ట్
లాగిన్ ఉంటాను సార్, పర్వాలేదు. మీరు పంపించింది నేను మళ్ళీ క్లిక్ చేయనా దీన్ని?
చేయండి. ఒకవేళ అప్పుడు కూడా అడ్మిషన్స్ రాకపోతే నేను అడ్మిషన్స్ చేసేస్తాను. మీరు చాట్ బాక్స్ చూసేసి క్వశ్చన్లు ఏమని అడిగితే అవి నోట్ అవుట్ చేసి లాస్ట్ కి స్పీకర్ కి చెప్పండి.
నేను అది క్లిక్ చేశాను సార్ మరి. నాకు అడ్మిషన్స్ వస్తాయో లేదో నాకు ఎట్లా తెలుస్తుంది మళ్ళీ ఇంకా తర్వాత?
అదే మేడం, మీరు 11:10 కి లాగిన్ అయి ఉండండి. నేను 11:15 కి లాగిన్ అవుతా.
ఓకే.
అప్పుడు తెలిసిపోతుంది.
అదే
వచ్చిందా ఇప్పుడు? అడ్మిషన్ రాలేదు మీకు, నాకే వస్తున్నాయి.
అవును, మీకే వస్తున్నాయి.
సర్లే, అడ్మిషన్స్ నేను చూసుకుంటానులేండి.
ఓకే సార్,
ఐ టేక్ కేర్ ఆఫ్ అడ్మిషన్. మీరు చాట్ బాక్స్ చూసుకోండి.
రికార్డింగ్ కూడా మీకే వస్తుంది అనుకుంటా. యు ఆర్ ద ఓనర్.
రికార్డింగ్ నాకే వస్తుంది రికార్డింగ్.
ఓకే, చాట్ చూసుకుంటాను సార్. స్క్రీన్ మానిటరింగ్ అన్ని చేస్తాను నేను. ఓకే ఓకే సార్, ఫైన్ సార్. కృష్ణ ప్రసాద్ సార్.
ఓకే మేడం.
ఓకే కదా సార్? రైట్ సార్.
ఓకే మేడం.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
హలో సార్, కర్నాథ్ సార్.
గుడ్
మార్నింగ్ సార్.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్. అదే వస్తుంది రాదా? నేను కనిపిస్తున్నానా?
కనిపిస్తున్నారు సార్, కనిపిస్తున్నారు.
కనిపించకుండా ఏం చేయాలి? కనిపించకుండా
ఆ వీడియో పక్కన లింక్ ఉంది కదా సార్, రెడ్ కలర్ వీడియో సింబల్ ఉంది కదా, అది మా
ఇప్పుడు
కనిపిస్తున్నారు సార్. ఇప్పుడు కూడా
వీడియో పక్కన ఎక్కడ ఉంది?
ఇప్పుడు నేను కనిపిస్తున్నాను మీకు.
కనిపిస్తున్నావు.
నేను మొబైల్ సింబల్ ఉంది కదా, ఫోన్ సింబల్ పక్కన ఉంటుంది. మీరు ల్యాప్టాప్ మొబైల్లో ఉన్నారా?
మొబైల్ అండి.
మొబైల్లో ఉంటే మొబైల్లో కూడా సేమ్ ఇదే వస్తాయి సార్. మీరు మొబైల్లో ఏం చేస్తారంటే డౌన్ కు యారో ప్రెస్ చేయండి, మీకు అది కనిపించేస్తుంది. మైకు, ఫోను.
డౌన్ యారో ఉంది.
కనిపిస్తున్నారు సార్.
కనిపించకుండా ఏం చేయాలని అర్థం.
మీరు డౌన్ కు వచ్చేసి అక్కడ మొబైల్, మీరు మైకు, మొబైల్, కెమెరా సింబల్ కనిపిస్తుంది, అవి క్లిక్ చేసుకుంటే కనిపించారు.
మైకు, మొబైల్. ఏది మైకు, మొబైలా?
మైకు, ఫోన్ సింబల్, కెమెరా సింబల్
3 బంద్ చేయాలా?
3 బంద్ చేసుకోవాల్సిందే.
సర్లే
మేడం, రిక్వెస్టెడ్, వెయిటింగ్ ఫర్ రెస్పాన్స్ మేడం.
Every day this poster will be coming on the screen. Every day they should display this poster on the screen. Hmm? Hmm? Oh. So everywhere they're just displaying the poster. I don't know why they should display the poster every time. They should start the program immediately as per the timings. Hmm. 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 Huh? ఏది ఇది సెకండ్ డే ఇచ్చలేదేమే నాకు ఫార్వర్డ్ ఇచ్చింది దీంట్లో పోస్టర్లో పోస్టర్లో ఇది పోస్టర్లో ఇప్పుడు రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ లింక్ ఓకే సార్ పోస్టర్ మెయిల్
Hello?
Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Krishna Prasad, sir.
Madam, we'll wait 5 more minutes, madam. We'll start.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
So tell me roughly what. You can raise the question in the chat box so that it's more interesting for us. I'm going to begin by talking a little bit about how technology is going to be in the future. And as an IP strategist and director of IP Dome, our team we focus a lot on the trend setters. So we keep looking at the technologies that that companies that are leading the industry are filing, and one of the areas of our interest is analytics. So we keep the trend in mind and we analyze what the bigger companies or the trend leaders are doing. So last couple of days, I think we've been hooked to our television screens or our internet screens watching the launch of the first private rocket ship. And it's been a huge success, I think. And they've gone and they have reached the International Space Station. This is an amazing and new victory for private entrepreneurship, I think, since we are able to now prove that countries can come together not only in international political terms, but also in entrepreneurship terms. So one of the other companies, so apart from them, the other company that we traditionally think that is important to follow is IBM. Um, in 2019, they have filed 8,500 patents. So in fact, I can recommend that those who are interested in technology, particularly information technology and telecommunication technology, artificial intelligence, should definitely follow what IBM is filing on a year-to-year basis. So this year, they have filed, and in 2019, they have filed 8,000 odd patents, and these are different domains. For instance, if you see, they have, since their first patent, they have filed in areas such as artificial intelligence, natural language processing, blockchain, semiconductor devices. In fact, one of their patentee inventors called Mr. Kanghuo Cheng has filed 337 patents. Today, he has more patents than Thomas Alva Edison. Other than that, there are patents related to quantum computing, patents related to cloud technology. So although IBM has stopped now filing patents for products, that is consumer products, they are more into areas such as smart city and banking and managing large enterprises. They still have a patent this year, very interesting patent. It is a wearable watch that can be stretched out to become a laptop. So if you look at the technologies that are wristwatch, wrist-mounted phone or tablet. So what is interesting in all this is that the the computing technology, semiconductor devices, hardware and software platforms, cloud technology, these are areas in which technology is moving much faster than we expected. And in fact, larger companies like IBM and Cisco are showing the way, but smaller companies are not far behind. There are many small startups in India and abroad who are coming up with an excellent use of these platforms and applications. So before we go all deep into that, maybe you could just tell me what kind of, Hari, can you just tell me if my screen is getting shared? Just a moment. Mm.
Not sure.
Yeah. I think there's a little lag, but can you see my screen now? Yeah, you can see the screen now? Yeah. So if you
Not coming, madam.
not coming? Hari, are you able to see the screen?
It's coming,
It's
sir.
visible, ma'am. It's visible.
Yeah, okay. So when you look at the patent scenario in the world, we are, IP scenario in the world, normally patents have hog the limelight because they appear to us to be very exciting. And we think that patents are the most important technology innovations in the world. But there are many other intellectual properties or intellectual property rights that we can discuss in the context of electronics and communication. So among the most important are design and copyright. Yeah. But equally important is trademarks. Uh, I'm not able to hear, ma'am. Are you trying to say something? Is someone trying to say something? So can I continue?
Yes, ma'am, you can continue, madam.
Sorry. Yeah. So when we look at technologies, particularly those in the market, it's very important to understand that technologies, intellectual property does not work in isolation. Many of the companies have patents, copyrights, trademarks, designs, trade secrets, semiconductor design copyrights. All of them are covered, or their products and services are covered by all of them. And the value of the technology increases because of this kind of collaborative use of different types of IP. Now, I don't know, probably because I live in Chennai, I'm kind of following up on the metro rail work in Chennai. But if you're in Hyderabad or different parts of the state of Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, I'm sure that you can reach out and understand about how the metro rail is being built in your city or town. If you look at the way the metro rail companies are working, you can understand a little bit more about how they bring together technologies and how they also bring together copyrights, designs, and trademarks. So the basic patent of the metro rail consists of two parts. One is the tunnel boring machine, and the other part is the concrete slabs that are already pre-integrated with all the required telecommunication and other information such as shock absorption capacity, earthquake resistance, and so on. Each of these are covered by different patents. Now, I'm not going to go deep into that because there's not enough time to explain every aspect of it, but let's look at one particular area where I'm sorry. So I have put on the screen here an ocean research vessel called Sagar Nidhi, which is operated by the National Institute of Ocean Technology, the Ministry of Earth Sciences. If you look at this, the ship is designed by an Italian company called Fincantieri. I'm not going to go into the excellent technologies which are on board. I only want to talk about one aspect, which is copyright. So, if you go on a ship today, any ship which goes in the open seas and comes back to the harbor, you will find that these ships have electronic navigation charts. So, these electronic navigation charts are essential for the pilots to decide how the water current is in that particular harbor, what are the conditions of water, what are the different currents that are there. And since weather and climate keep changing, they need a series of electronic navigation charts. Now, each of these electronic navigation charts costs about 1,300 rupees, which is an immensely large number when we consider that Indian maps, the map of the harbor or the map of Chennai or the map of India will only cost us about a maximum of 20 rupees, even if you buy a large version of it. So why are these so expensive? The answer is because they are copyrighted. And they are not copyrighted yesterday or last decade or in 1990 or 1980. No, they were copyrighted first in 1703 by the Thornton brothers. And today the copyrights are being held by the UK Hydrographic Office. Why this is important to understand is that intellectual properties are not new in India or in the world. They are very old properties. And many of these assets have been continuing from generation to generation, and as we keep working with them, we have to add to their value. We still have to spend for the technologies that have been made before we came on the scene. Another example is Swarovski. I know that we all think of Swarovski. Maybe the women will be more familiar with Swarovski. Swarovski is a brand of precise crystal jewelry, and they are very expensive jewelry, not because they are made with expensive gems like diamonds or amethyst, but because they are cut very beautifully and they look very beautiful. So we think of Swarovski as being jewelry crystals, but actually they are used in a number of different areas, particularly in electronics and in technology. One of the areas that they have invented or created for themselves is Philips. They have joined with Philips to create active crystals. Now they use these crystals, Swarovski crystals, are used to build chandeliers. So if you go to any of the big five-star hotels or big venues, you find large chandeliers hanging in the ballrooms. They are most likely to be Swarovski crystals. And they are made with precise technology so that they reflect the light perfectly. They save light, they save electricity, at the same time they provide elegance and beauty. But that is not the only thing that they do. The essential technologies of Swarovski was not in making jewelry or jewelry design. Their essential patents lay in how to cut glass. And they realized that if they are able to make very sturdy crystal, then they can cut it in a variety of ways, and each cut or each patented Swarovski cut can generate a certain type of light, a certain type of use. So in fact, they are the primary patent holders of hunting scopes and sniper scopes. So if you've seen any James Bond movie with James Bond firing a sniper rifle from one building to another, then the scope of that rifle was probably built by Swarovski. Another area where Swarovski works is if you have seen the latest 8-lane roads or 12-lane roads that are being built by the national highways, you will find these cat's eyes or reflectors on the road. These cat's eyes and these reflectors are also made by Swarovski under a brand name called Tyrolit. Here again, the basic expertise of Swarovski lies in their ability to create a reflective form of crystal. So what we understand, or here's a nice example of that. So here you see tunnel lighting, and tunnel lighting is extremely difficult because tunnels are curved and they keep bending. So the light needs to be reflected in a variety of different ways to light up the entire tunnel. Otherwise, you will have blocks where there is too much darkness. So Flex is their tunnel lighting product. Now, why I'm specifying all of these different areas is because I would like to impress upon inventors or those of you who are interested in R&D that you need not look only at patenting or only at one application or only at one domain. So like Swarovski, you can think of domestic lighting or commercial lighting or tunnel lighting or making hunting scopes or making sniper scopes and jewelry. So if you look at Swarovski, you will find that there is at one end they are a high end luxury brand that you will only find in the biggest of malls or in the biggest of runways. And on the other hand, you find it a very utilitarian product that is available, hundreds of thousands of them along 100 kilometers of road. So when you understand that inventions have specific areas of application, but at the same time, the same technologies that you develop have a variety of different ideas or for application, you will be able to understand how big companies like IBM and Swarovski and Cisco and others are able to use their patents. Quite often, particularly when you talk to patent office officials, they may impress upon you that you have to look at the background, you have to look at the prior art, you have to look at the shortfall, you have to create a patent that covers the shortfall, and you should keep your scope narrow, you should keep your scope to within what you are looking at as the shortfall and not really look wide apart. But what they are essentially telling you is not to narrow the scope of your patent. What they are telling you is file different patents for different applications. In one application, please stick to one application. In one patent application, please stick to one industrial application. This way, you stand to get the patent, failing which you may not get a patent. Now, in a variety of different industries, patents are used in different ways. This is the Hyundai factory assembly line in Sriperumbudur. They have 4 plants, and each plant turns out one car every 72 seconds. It takes them 3 days to make a car from sheet metal to car. Takes them 3 days. So if you look at this factory here, can you imagine the number of patents that will be covering these technologies? Can I have some responses from you? How many patents do you think they will have? And what, or would they have copyrights? Will they have designs? What do you think? I'm actually not able to see the speakers, I mean the participants. Copyrights around 1,000. So I have here Dr. B. Jagdish saying around 1,000. Ms. Rajeshwar saying a good number of patents. What do you think about copyrights? Do you think they have copyrights? And in what areas do you think they will have copyrights? Yes, design, certainly. So Mr. Vasu Krishna says design, Ms. Kanti Sudha is also saying designs. And copyrights, yes, there are at least 1,000 patents. No, Hyundai, as a matter of fact, Hyundai Cars has about 8,000 patents. And they do have, I will come to Ms. Archana is asking a question, is there a difference between copyrights and patents? Yes, there are. I will come to that in a minute. So when we look at a factory like this, trust me, there are hundreds of thousands of patents. In this case, Hyundai has about 8,000 patents. Not only do the patents cover the cars, they also cover the robots. So they cover the robots, they cover the flexible assembly line. In fact, if you have the opportunity to go to a Hyundai factory or a Toyota factory, please, I request you, do not miss that opportunity. It will be an example of how manufacture can be done in a 3-dimensional space. So if you look at a 4,000 square feet plant of Hyundai, you will find that actually they make it into a 10,000 square feet plant because manufacturing happens in all 3 dimensions of the plant. So unlike our traditional conception that the factory floor is the only place where manufacturing happens, because they use robots, manufacturing can actually happen in different floors above the workspace, and the car keeps moving in different dimensions before it reaches the workers. In fact, much of the work is done by robots, so a lot of patents are filed on the robots. There are several hundred copyrights covering the software controlling the robots. Controlling the robots, controlling the inventory, as well as the stock. So if you see, it's very interesting. Again, if you have an opportunity, you should take it and visit these places. If you see, there are about 10,000 cars dispatched from Sriperumbudur every single day, and they go to almost every country in the world, particularly South Asia, Southeast Asia, and Europe. So when the cars come out, they come out labeled with the destination. So if Turkey wants a red I-10, then that I-10 will already have the required markings. The yellow markings will be there. The steering wheel will be in the right, exactly where it should be. All the safety precautions will be taken, and it will be parked in a particular place from where it will be lifted. So in fact, there is software controlling where the vehicle is parked, and how the vehicle will be lifted, in which series it will be lifted, in which ship's container it will go, and which ship will drop it in Turkey. So software in the manufacturing industry is extremely important, particularly in the case of large mass manufacturing projects. One of the examples that I love to talk about is Foxconn. Foxconn is perhaps the maker of every phone that you own, smartphone that we own today. Foxconn, which is also called Honhai in China, actually manufactures almost every brand of phone. So your Xiaomi, Levo, Vivo, what is the L1, whatever it's called, including our Samsungs and Apples, are made by Foxconn. Now, Foxconn's greatest intellectual property asset are not its patents because they don't own many patents, but their greatest advantage is their ability to make highly or have high efficiency throughput in the manufacturing process. So they claim very proudly that Foxconn is the only industrial facility in the world that can change from one version of a device to the next version of a device with a 24-hour turnaround, which means that if they are making Samsung M30 today, tomorrow they can make Samsung M70 with no stop in the process, which means that their entire pipeline from inventory to output is controlled and aligned by a whole series of intellectual property, including software. So I can go into many different examples, but right now I'm going to just ask you a few questions before I proceed to what are copyrights, patents, designs, and technology. So I'm going to ask you these questions. I would like you to take maybe a minute and you can answer these on the chat box and Hari and I will respond to you. So the two things that you learned about India from these case studies that I was talking about, two things that you learn about technology in general, two things that you learned about intellectual property, and two things that you would like to understand in the next 2 days, today and in the next couple of days that you are with us. Yeah. So with that, I'll just take a little break. I give you a chance to answer these questions. So the chat box is open. Where is the chat box? Oh, there are about 50 messages in my chat box. Mechanical engineer, thermal power engineer. Yeah. Yeah, I request all participants to give answers in chat box. Okay. Let me change my presentation. Stop presenting. And can you follow the chat? They want to learn, is it? About patents? Okay, good. So somebody said mechanical engineering. There are not so many in technology, really. No. I'm saying there are not so many in computers. Yeah. Okay.
Ma'am, please display the questions, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, so it's not on, I was on mute. Okay, yes. Yes, ma'am. Someone was asking me a question.
Got it, ma'am. Got it.
All right. So I have here a number of different questions. Can you just repeat them for me, Hari, because my chat is. Yeah.
Yeah. So how to file a patent? Yeah, I will.
Huh. Hari will be talking to you about the exact process of filing a patent tomorrow, including how to file claims. Yes. So I can help you with the basics, but it's better you spend time tomorrow with Hari because it will be more in a workshop mode. Yes. IBM is having a lot of patents, how to go for patent or design of equipment in chemical industry. All right. So there are lovely questions here. I'm so happy because this actually gives me a lot of different areas to explore. I have questions relating to civil engineering and to chemical industry and to healthcare industry, chip design, and so on. So to begin with, what is a patent? What is a patent and what is the difference between the different intellectual properties? So there are Yes. So Dr. Jagdish has asked what is the patent filing process. I think I will leave that for Hari. Today I will just handle the legal aspects of what is a copyright, design, patent, and so on. So there are, as we spoke, several types of intellectual property. Among these are patents, copyrights, designs, trademarks, trade secrets, and copyright of semiconductor chip. In addition, there are different types of IP. For instance, those who are interested in botany or plant varieties may see um, may get patents on plant, but unfortunately, plants cannot be patented. So therefore, there is a different form of patenting that is called Plant Varieties Act. Under the Plant Varieties Act, you can get a patent on a plant for 15 years, provided you are able to show that it is a stable and sexually reproducible plant. Now, to start with, what is a patent or what are the requirements of a patent? To be patentable, an invention must include statutory subject matter. So, we, as an inventor, it's very important for you to become familiar with the Patent Act and the Copyright Act, also the Designs Act. Unfortunately, there is no excuse or I am unable to advise you that you can leave it to your lawyer because most lawyers in our country become lawyers without studying science. So as a result, you will be forced to understand the law. In the interest of inventors, however, I would like to say that in order to be a patent attorney, you should have a basic degree in a science subject. Interestingly, the patent office, in order to become an examiner in the patent office, you should have an MSc at least in that particular discipline. So, in the patent office or with your patent attorney, you may not have a problem. But if you're talking to a lawyer about infringement or you're trying to talk to your lawyer about entering into an agreement with regard to a licensable technology, you should definitely know the law. In India, certain subjects are not patentable. Methods of treatment, for instance, which is a healthcare related subject, are not patentable. Methods of surgery are not patentable, whether it's veterinary or human surgery or treatment, they're not patentable. Inventions relating to atomic energy are not patentable. So there are some of these areas that are not patentable today. The invention must be new. Now, to understand the word new, we must understand something called prior art and something called state of the art. So, when we buy a new TV or a new laptop, we say, oh, I have a state of the art laptop. Oh, I have a state of the art ultra HD television. What do we mean by state of the art? State of the art means that that is the level at which the technology stands today, the highest level at which the technology stands today. So the state of the art TV may be one that is smart, one that is able to play Amazon, one that is able to play Netflix, one which is able to connect to your mobile phone or your laptop. Maybe it is also able to send you alerts, or maybe it is able to monitor your house. So that is a state of the art TV. What does it mean to be new? So when you are looking to make a new type of TV, you must take into consideration every aspect of the state of the art TV and then make something which is not there in the state of the art. Anything below the state of the art is called prior art. So if you come to me or Hari to file a patent, what we will first do is we will file, or we will do a prior art search. A prior art search means that we will check in the prior art if your invention is existing, and we will decide, or we will help you with our analysis to decide whether the invention is new or not. The invention must be useful. Now, in India, we have a slightly higher standard. It's not just simply useful, it has to be industrially applicable, which means that it must either be able to be made in industry or to be used in industry. This means that if it's a very useful product, but you can only do it once, or you can only do it by handicraft, you cannot get a patent in India. That, in fact, is what we call jugaad. So if your hand pump is not working and you fix an Aquafina bottle to it to get water from your hand pump, that's not industrially applicable. It will be jugaad. You can still use it, but you can't file a patent for it. The invention must be inventive. So it may sound like a very tedious example. How can an invention not be inventive? Trust me, there are many inventions that we are forced to accommodate every day, which are hardly inventive. So what do you mean when we say it has to be inventive, or what Hari or I or another patent agent is looking for? We want to know if the invention is obvious to a person who has ordinary skill in the art. What is the ordinary skill in the art? So for a carpenter, the ordinary skill in the art is to do basic carpentry, should have technical skill and what is required to do in carpentry. But for a computer engineer, ordinary skill in the art requires them to do coding or testing or filing or repair. So there may be a far higher degree or standard of ordinary skill in certain disciplines, and in other disciplines, the ordinary skill in the art may be less. This does not mean that everybody has to be an Einstein or everybody has to be a Thomas Alva Edison. No. Ordinary skill in the art is sufficient, which means that if you are a pharmaceutical engineer, then your ordinary skill in the art is a pharmaceutical scientist. Your ordinary skill in the art is to be maybe a BSc, MSc, maybe a PhD. But if you say you want to do an ordinary skill in the art in artificial intelligence, for instance, may require you to have a PhD in in computing, as well as a more than a working knowledge in, say, neurolinguistic processing. So our ordinary skill in the art depends on what is the art. Here, art is not drawing or art and culture type art. Here, the art is the technical skill or the technical art that we are talking about. So the way of most authors or most laws will have an example of a common man. So that is what this person having ordinary skill in the art is in respect to inventions. So what is a patent? Now, I'm giving you an example here, probably a very simple example for professors who have been working in the area of technology. But here I give you an example. There is a stapler. A stapler is well known in the state of the art. Maybe even if it is a high-tech stapler, it is still well known in the art. And here is a pen. A pen is also well known in the art. It has been in existence since time immemorial. And even if it is a high tech, it's still known in the art. Now, do you see the third image here? The third image is a combination of stapler and pen. My question is it patentable? Now, perhaps you may have to speak in this context, or you can continue to give me an answer on chat. So the question is, you've seen a pen, you've seen the stapler, is it patentable? I have here Dr. Kanti Sudha saying it is patentable. Can you explain how it is patentable or why it is patentable? Dr. Vasu Krishna says no, it is not patentable. Can you tell me why it is not patentable? Is it possible, Hari, is it possible to run a poll on this, like Zoom? No. So several of you are saying that it is patentable and a few of you are saying it is not patentable. Can you explain why or give me one or two reasons for why it could be patentable? And design, yes. Several of you are also speaking about design. Can you get a patent for design? Now, since it is already patentable product. So design is a different intellectual property right in India. So I know that when we read magazines like Forbes or you read Financial Times or whatever, you find that Apple has a design patent or Samsung has a design patent. Well, design patent is not the same as a patent. A utility patent is a patent for the product, its service, the way it functions, the way it operates, whereas a design is for how it looks. So a design is the emotional connect we have with the product because we like it to be white and smooth and so on, but not because it works well. So you can get a design registration for the pen, but only for how it looks, not for how it works. So in fact, if you take something like a mobile phone here, I have a mobile phone here, you can get a patent on how it functions and you can get a design registration on how it looks. So, Hari, can you look at the chat and tell me what answers are there? Utilities combined. Yeah, since it's already a patentable product, independently it cannot be patented. Okay, it's a new invention. Right. Difference between national. Sorry? Mere admixture. Okay. So very good. That I'm happy that you are thinking about it. It's an interesting concept. So the way you have to look at it is in the prior art, does it exist like this? Then it doesn't. For instance, I have not seen it in the market or I have not seen it in the patent literature that it is there. So it is new. Is it industrially applicable? Yes, because it has to be made in industry, it cannot be made at home. And is it patentable subject matter? Certainly it is patentable subject matter. It is not atomic energy, it is not a method of healing, and so on. But now we come to the most important question, is it inventive? So a person having ordinary skill in the art, does he think it is inventive? Does he think it is not obvious? Now for this, we first have to determine who is the person having ordinary skill in the art. Is he a person who uses the pen, or is he a person who designs the pen and stapler, or is he a person who manufactures the pen and stapler? Probably I would say it is a design engineer or a product engineer or what is our friend Ramesh Manikam? He's an IIT Delhi design engineering. Yeah, industrial design engineer. So he must be an industrial designer. So do you think that an industrial designer or a design engineer or a product designer or a product development engineer would think of it as new and not obvious? Probably he would. He would say, yeah, it's very useful, particularly if you work in the court, then you need not carry two devices. You can carry the same device. You can sign the petition. You can staple it with the same device and file it. It's a very useful device. But and as we see, the US has granted a patent. So the device is registered as a patent of writing or marking implement comprising a pen and a stapler body. But interestingly, I would say that in India you would have a far harder method, a harder process to get it patented because we would call it a mere admixture. It's like connecting two different devices which have the same functionality. Just because the stapler is connected to the pen, both of them don't start to sing or dance. So you have the same device, instead of two devices, you have a single device. How do you overcome this? Because as we see, many of the technologies that we will be inventing in the future will include two or more devices which are already existing. So how do you overcome this? The question to be asked is there any technical issue that we have to overcome? How have we overcome the difficulty in achieving the outcome? So in this case, if you see, if you press the stapler hard, if you press the stapler hard, the pen body might break. So you will say, no, let me make the pen body really strong and robust, in which case the pen will become so heavy that you will not be able to write. Then you'll say, no, let me put in a little spine in the pen, in which case only that part which receives the stress will remain robust, the rest of the pen will remain light and easy to handle. Then probably you do have a patent. Patent filing requirements in brief. You need to have a patent application, one application per patent invention. The application consists of a specification, which is the description of your patent, abstract, which is a 100 to 200 word summary of your invention, claims, which are like the legal part of your invention, which tell the examiner exactly what you are trying to protect. Illustrations are optional, but most agents and inventors prefer to have illustrations. Illustrations depict how your device will work or look. Forms, which are already specified or prescribed by the Act. The names of the inventor and the names of the agent and applicant are important. Design. As I was saying a few minutes earlier, designs are granted, or design registration is granted for the mere look and feel of the device, just how it looks and not how it functions. So you see on the left side of your screen two different bottles which actually look quite similar, but they are different in slightly different ways. It doesn't matter as long as they are different designs, as long as they look different, um, they are possible to be registered as patents. It's interesting that cars and other products that come in series, for instance, mobile phones, they have to follow a certain design paradigm and still be different. So therefore, if you see a Hyundai car, you know that it's a Hyundai car because it has a distinctive fluidic design. So although you know that this is an i10 and this is not an i10, you will still be able to make out that it's a Hyundai. How do you do that? That's because they follow a design family. So mostly you will be able to tell the difference between, say, a Maruti and a Hyundai, or you'll be able to tell the difference between a BMW and a Mercedes, even though one version of Mercedes may be different from another version of Mercedes. Each of these are allowed to be protected as designs. Not only the whole car, but every small element can be protected as a design. For instance, hubcaps can be protected as designs, radiator grills can be protected as designs, headlights can be protected, dashboards can be protected as designs, and so on. So here you see there is a company called Vidium, which has recently become quite popular in India, which provides kitchen ware. So if you see here, one small element of theirs is the way their knobs are structured and colored. So these are protectable as designs, even though a knob is a very small part of the stove. It doesn't mean that the entire stove is not protected as a design. Yes, the entire stove is also protected, and small elements of the stove are also protected. And this is a wonderful example. This is by a small startup called Infinity. And you have here heart-shaped idli plates, and you also have heart-shaped idli. So I'm going to leave you to think about this, whether it is the idli that is protected by the design or the idli plate. And we come to copyrights. Copyright is not one right. Copyright is a whole jumble of rights. There, for instance, if you go to watch a movie, the movie has copyright in a variety of ways. There's copyright on the lyrics, there's copyright on the dialogue, there's copyright on the visuals, on the performance of the music, there's copyright of the person who's singing, the copyright person who's playing the music has his own copyright on that. And it goes on and on. And all of those copyrights have to be included in such a way that the producer is able to exhibit the film. If everybody asserts their copyright, the producer will not be able to exhibit the film. So what he does or has to do is when he puts the movie together, he gets licenses and agreements from all the people who are contributing to the film, and that is how they are able to ensure that when the film is being exhibited, people don't have conflicts. In spite of that, there are conflicts. For instance, we have seen, at least in Tamil Nadu, it's very famous, the battle between Ilayaraja and S.P. Balasubramaniam. I'm not sure how familiar you might be with that conflict in your part of the state. But the conflict was this. So Mr. Ilayaraja, who is a well-known music composer, has been making wonderful music for the last at least 4 decades. Many of these wonderful songs have been sung by Mr. S.P. Balasubramaniam, who in his own right is a fantastic artist. So now in around 2016, when he went to America, he planned a concert for himself and he went and sang in the concert. And the copyright agents of Mr. Ilayaraja actually filed a case against him saying he has to pay license fee for every song that he has sung. Now he came back and there was a big conflict and there was a settlement eventually reached between Mr. Raja and Mr. S.P. Balasubramanian. The question was, isn't it the right of the singer to sing his own songs? Is it necessary that a singer has to give copyright license fee every time he sings his own song? The question again is, what happens if I sing in my house, in my kitchen? Do I have to pay copyright license fee to the composer because I'm singing in my house? Okay, if I'm not singing in my house, what about all the music that is played in colleges for annual functions? Do they have to pay copyright license fee? In fact, a very interesting case happened when the IPL was being played in Bangalore, and during the break, when there was a performance of dancers, a clip from Dhoom 2 was played, and the dancers were dancing to Dhoom 2. By the end of the clip, the IPL organizers had received a notice from the owners of the copyright. So the question was, you have not paid us license fee to play the music in public. So copyright is a difficult area to understand, but in general, a composer has the right to the music unless there is an agreement that computers with embedded software. But software per se is not patentable; it is always protected as a copyright. So if you look at some of the games that are available online, for instance, Farmville used to be very popular a few years ago, or the City Builders and so on. So all these games have copyrights under them, which protect the software, but there is also design, look and feel, and the user interface. Um, Trademarks are actually, there are also copyrights on certain trademarks like the Apple logo or the Amul. Amul logo is very famous in India for different infringement cases. The most interesting case was the case of a manufacturer of innerwear for men who wanted to create Amul vests. And our Amul brand, the brand that makes milk products, objected, saying that Amul is a coined word. Not only is it a coined word, the fonts have been designed by us. The fonts are original. So the fonts have a copyright. So in spite of the fact that trademarks may be registered as trademarks, several trademarks also are copyrighted. Some examples are given here. The Apple logo is a copyright as well as a trademark. Similarly, Benz. So there was again an innerwear company that wanted to make Benz vests, and the company objected, saying that of the 3 points within a circle is registered as a copyright, not just as a trademark. We'll go into fair use some other, because it is found in one particular place and they are taking great care to ensure that people are trained appropriately and the quality is maintained. It is very important to understand the geographical indications came into the picture fairly recently. 2000 was the Geographical Indications Act of India. And it became famous because of two industries, both industries that originated in Europe. The first is the liquor industry, the second is the cheese industry. So apparently the champagne, which is a type of wine which is produced, bubbly wine which is produced in the areas in the higher regions of between France and Switzerland. They filed a case against some Californian wine growers who called it Californian champagne. And they said, you cannot use the word champagne because champagne is the name of a place. Similarly, Scotch is the name of a place. Brie is the name of a place. So you can't use the names of places, and particularly confuse the person by saying Californian Scotch or Californian champagne, as a result of which an entire intellectual property regime came up, and today it's become quite popular to register geographical indications. In fact, we fought the first geographical indications case with regard to Payanur Pavitra Modiram, where two groups of families were arguing, one family arguing that it's a geographical indication and the other arguing that it is a trademark. So very interesting cases are emerging. Many new geographical indications are being filed, but we still have to see how it's all going to pan out. Trademarks. Unfortunately, India, although we have a very old trademark law from 1905 onwards, our brand values are quite low. Even today, maybe the top companies have good brands, but in the global sense, we have very few brands. Today, Dabur and Himalaya are growing brands, but there are also service brands like Reliance, which are growing. Swiggy, Zomato, these are excellent brands, but they are very local. Ola, for instance, is a very local brand in the sense that they don't have global appeal, maybe not even global recognition. On the other hand, if you say Coca-Cola, even in the poorest regions of the world, you might actually know, or people might actually know what we are talking about. Google, for instance. And Google, interestingly, has also become a verb. So we say, I'm going to ask you a question, but no Googling. So it's very interesting. We say, I don't know what the answer to this question is, so Google it. So Google has also not only remained a trademark, it has become a verb. In fact, this is a very big problem for companies like Xerox. Today, Xerox is fighting a whole movement trying to say that Xerox is not a generic word. The generic word is photocopying. But we have Student Xerox, we have Aqua Xerox, at least in Tamil Nadu, we have Star Xerox, without realizing that Xerox is not a generic word for photocopying. So they are going hammer and tongs against companies that use the word Xerox in their trade names. So Google also is in that danger zone. Probably tomorrow people will say, instead of dictionary, bring the Google, which will be a big problem for Google, because then it will be difficult for them to hold on to the brand. Semiconductor layout designs is a fairly new law in India. It's a copyright law, or it's a species of copyright law. And we are still, now, in my opinion, not a single one has been granted till date, although we have several NIITs. It's not surprising, because we do not have the underlying technology knowledge to create these designs. But in law, that is the lawyers among us, we are having a battle trying to understand what exactly this consists of. Can we have an arrangement of transistors? Can an arrangement of transistors come under a semiconductor layout copyright, or an arrangement of chips? Can you call it a semiconductor layout? By law, a semiconductor layout is when everything is integrated within silicon. All that is required to make it function has to be integrated within the chip. Only then you can get a semiconductor layout design copyright. So as of now, we have very little understanding of how it's going to work in the market. Yeah. So coming back to you, I've been talking to you for 1 hour and 4 minutes, and I think I'm ready to now ask or wait for some questions from you for the next 10 minutes, and then if there is more time, then we will go to the next level. So there are some good questions. Why didn't we challenged the patent of turmeric filed by another country? This is from Dr. Kanti Sudha. Okay, the answer to that is this: we did challenge the filing of the patent of on turmeric. So before that, we have to understand what the patent was about. They didn't file a patent on turmeric; they filed a patent on the antiseptic uses of turmeric. When the Indian government came to understand this, the Ministry of Home Affairs said this is not correct because in India we have been using turmeric as an antiseptic for a long time, and if we allow a commercial entity to take over that aspect, then ordinary people will not be able to use turmeric. So they went, they tried to revoke the patent in the in the US Patent Office. The Patent Office said, bring us literature, because at that point the US patent law had a rule that any patent which was not contained, or any invention which was not contained in a publication, is treated as new. So since there is no publication asserting that turmeric can be used as in an antiseptic application, therefore they could it was open to patenting. At this point, the Indian government went looking for a Shastric text, a text of some old Ayurveda text that said that turmeric can be used in as an antiseptic, and they couldn't find it until they found a Persian text in the Jamia Millia Islamia College, which said that for the last 600 years, turmeric has been used as an antiseptic in Ayurveda. When they took it to the patent office in the US, they said, we can't read this, so get it translated. This is not acceptable to the examiner. So when the Indian government had it translated in India, they said, no, we won't accept because it's a conflict of interest. It has to be translated by a non-unbiased third party. So our government had to have it translated by the School of Oriental Studies in Frankfurt into English, and that document was accepted in the patent office in the US, and it was revoked. But let me explain this to you. Let us understand, for instance, the patenting of azadirachtin. Azadirachtin is one of the molecules that are found in neem. The pesticide and antiseptic qualities of azadirachtin are patented, and we have not been able to challenge it successfully. The reason is this. The reason is that in traditional knowledge, the entire leaf or the entire turmeric root was used or stem was used. It was not purified into a molecule, and it was not the molecule that was protected in traditional knowledge, but the use of the entire leaf or the entire stem. So when the patent office looks at the patent, they see whether there is some form of purification that it has gone through, whether the process of purification is new, and whether the molecule and its qualities that they are using to demonstrate its particular capacity are new and novel in industry. If it is so, they will get a patent. In fact, that is how you have Garnier neem or Garnier turmeric cream and all of that, because it is not the neem itself that is put in the shampoo, but it is some molecules which are purified, probably even synthetic molecules that are put in the shampoo. Next question, can a unique prediction algorithm be patented which is based on machine learning and artificial intelligence? Yes. So a mere algorithm cannot be patented. A mere algorithm can be protected as a copyright, but a device, this is from Mr. Vasu, Dr. Vasu Krishna, the device in which such an algorithm is embedded can be patented. Let me give you an example. So we use the Google search engine. The Google search engine has an algorithm called page ranking. Now, page ranking is an algorithm which provides a rank of the pages that we search, and thereby provides a particular priority number to each page. That is why when we do search, a certain page comes up right on top, and a certain page comes up at 3 millionth or 100 million in ranking. So can I ask you this? How could that algorithm be patented? If no algorithm can be patented in any part of the world, because all algorithms are copyrightable, all algorithms are works of literature, then how did Google manage to get a patent?
Hello.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, it was because it is a unique way of search, and
Yes, sir.
what pages are displayed. It is based on a very unique way. That's the reason it was.
True. So Dr. Basu Krishna, you're right in the sense that it's unique. I agree, but I'm saying that no algorithms are patentable. All algorithms are copyrightable. So how can the Google algorithm alone get a patent?
No answer.
Yeah, the answer is this. The answer is very. You have it in your grasp, sir. If you think a little. So basically, the Google algorithm is patentable because it treats the entire World Wide Web as an engine. So when you enter the algorithm into the World Wide Web, then the World Wide Web becomes an embedded system. So an embedded system is patentable. Once you take a system like even my laptop, I put in a new software. The software is protected as a copyright, but my system with its new software starts acting differently, then I have a different patent. I'll give you one more example. So we did this, it was a very challenging exercise that we did for a startup client of ours. So if you remember the Nokia 1100 phones, the small ones, non-smart phones. So this non-smart phone, you cannot do encryption. So when you are transferring money or transferring secret messages from one non-smart phone to another non-smart phone, it is not possible to encrypt it. So our client had come up with an algorithm. Basically, what the non-smart phone lacked was computing capacity to generate random numbers, to generate RSA keys. So once you download this application, a large cache of random numbers is dumped into the phone. There is based on Java Virtual Mobile Platform, the phone is divided into the security application and the communication or the security part of the phone and the communication part of the phone. Now the security part of the phone alone becomes smart because what it lacked in terms of computing capacity has been given by this algorithm or given by this dump of cache of random numbers. So now the phone is patentable. The software is copyrightable. The algorithm is copyrightable. The entire process of downloading the application and dumping the cache of numbers is all patentable, is all copyrightable. Only the phone is patentable. Even the transfer of the information, the method of transfer of information from one phone to another is copyrightable. But the phone itself, because now it has a new functionality, it can be patented. Yes, sir. Um, Coming to one more question, I have a patent filed in Chennai, patent status. I will ask somebody from my office to check out the patent status and inform you, Dr. Madhu. We have lots of good ideas that can be converted. At least one can go for patent, but the problem is how to apply for a patent. Some are saying that it takes lots of money, so common man cannot give that. It will be a good, informative, step-by-step process for applying patent can change our mindset. The step-by-step technical process for filing a patent will be dealt with by Hari tomorrow. But from my part, I can tell you this, that if you learn the act, if you understand the law, and you're able to read the patent act and patent rules, then you will be able to file a patent. Technically speaking, the Patent Act is meant to be implemented and used by inventors. It is not necessary that a patent attorney or a lawyer should be involved. If they are involved, it becomes expensive. One of the reasons is that the databases that we use for patent search are very expensive. So we use bases which are curated, patent databases which are curated. Many of them cost us a lot of money and we have to remain up to date, so we cannot do without it. So that raises the value or cost for us as well as for the inventor. But there are a number of free databases that I would encourage you to use. So Google Patents is one, Free Patents Online is one. Also, the US Patent and Trademark Office has a free database that can be easily accessible. The same is with the WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Office database, and so on. So using these databases, once you have identified the prior art, it will become easy for you to start looking at what you want to patent. Thereafter, if you're able to read the law, then 90% of the time you will be able to file a patent. It's not that difficult. The government fees for individuals is cheaper than the government fees for corporates. So I believe that it is now 2,500 rupees for filing for an individual and 10,000 rupees for a corporate entity. So if you are an independent individual, it isn't that expensive. So the highest cost in patenting comes from the prior art search and from attorney fees. We are extremely useful to you in only two reasons. When you are looking to monetize your patent. If you're looking to monetize your patent, then you need a patent attorney, because patent attorney and a strategist, they know how to pitch the product in such a way that it gains commercial traction and commercial interest. The second reason is when the patent is in an area where there is lots and lots of prior art. So if you find that you are in an area which is covered by high and expensive patent portfolios, then you will find it difficult to work without a patent attorney. Otherwise, I would encourage you to do at least some of the work by yourself, at least to the extent that you are able to see or able to work with. In a sports arena, a winning concept to win a match which is programmed can be patented. So the method of playing a game, the method of gambling, a method of training, all these things are not patentable per se. But if you're using it on an app platform like Zoom, for instance, Zoom by itself, the algorithm may not be patentable. But once you put it online and make it accessible and all the hardware that is required to interact with it and so on, then the whole system can be considered for patenting. But we will have to do some research to see exactly what you're talking about. But in general, method of gambling or a method of playing a game are not patentable. Do we need to study LLB? No, sir, please don't study. Otherwise, we will be competing with you. No, the truth is you need not study LLB, sir. But what you can do is you can study the Patent Act, the Copyright Act and the rules. If you are interested, you could also consider applying for an examiner's post. But the law that you require is enough. If you just read the Patent Act and the Copyright Act, this will be sufficient for you. If you would like us to facilitate that learning, we are more than happy to do that. Patent filing and patent published. Why many patents are just filed, not published? Is it a tedious process? Patent filing, once patents are filed, within 18 months, every patent has to be published by the patent office. If it is not published, then you can ask for expedited publication within 9 months. So it is the job of the patent office to see that every patent application is filed, that has been filed is published within 18 months. It is not a tedious process from our end. Once the filing is done, then we are safe until the patent comes up for hearing, and then we may have to explain the features of our hearing, the features of our patent at the hearing. What is the difference between national patents and international patents? There is no international patent. There is only a national patent. So every country gives their own inventors a patent which is only valid within their own country. So if the Indian Patent Office gives a patent, that is only valid in India. If the British Patent Office is giving a patent, it is only valid within Britain. However, there are some countries like Singapore who may accept a British patent, and after doing their own processes may accept that patent for validity in Singapore, provided that the Singapore patent only gives a Singapore protection within Singapore. So how do you protect the patent internationally? You have to file a patent in every country where you expect a market. There are different ways of doing it. One way of doing it is through the World Intellectual Property Office, which helps you to file one application. And by using that one application, you can hold the space in different countries until you file the application in that country. In general, the cost of filing a patent will come to about $5,000 to $6,000 per country. What will be the cost of filing individual patent? That depends on the domain of the invention, as well as the cost of the patent database that we have to use. In addition to the complexity of the patent, so it depends on how much time we have to spend on that. From your perspective, how much is the filing fee now, Hari, for individual? 1,600. So it is 1,600 for MSMEs and individuals, the filing fee. And then there is a request for examination and a grant fee, correct? So, but from then on, there is also a requirement to pay renewal fee for the next 20 years if you want to keep the patent alive. So for an individual, the office and government fee is not that expensive. Can we patent in national and international at the same time? Yes, you can. You can file in India, and then within 12 months, you can file an international place holding application with the National World Intellectual Property Organization. And from there, you can take it on. Hari will be discussing these things with you tomorrow. Yeah? Am I done? Okay. I have 10 more minutes. I can see if there are any other. What is this? I request all participants. What is? I don't know. If there are any more questions, then I'm available for the next 10 minutes. If you'd like to talk to me, or if you'd like to speak on chat. Hari, there is somebody who wants a patent status update. You can talk to them. We started an e-learning platform. Is it necessary to apply for a patent? If you are planning to make it into a profitable venture, appropriate intellectual property portfolio is essential. Without protecting your brand and your algorithm and your look and feel and the way you're going to access your clients, you will, as soon as you start to become profitable, you will be facing competitors, and you will not be able to sustain it in the market. So an IP portfolio is essential, and whether a patent can be granted has to be checked. Only design is okay, or do we have to manufacture it for patent? No, you don't. In fact, this is an interesting question. You don't need a prototype for a patent. A patent application is considered as appropriate or sufficient reduction to practice for the purpose of the patent office. The patent office will only look at whether the invention that you have described is complete and comprehensive in its description, and only based on the description your patent will be granted. So I have been in this practice for 20 years, and no patent examiner, no, actually one patent examiner has asked us for a prototype, isn't it, Ramalingam? Yeah. So yes, if your draft is complete in all respects, generally the examiner will not ask for a prototype. But there have been a couple of instances in the last 20 years when I have been asked to bring the invention to the examiner. This has been because the examiner does not believe that the invention functions in the way that we have described it, or he believes or she believes that the invention is not workable in science. So if I were to file a time machine patent, then they would say, please bring me the prototype. But in general, they do not ask for a prototype. So it's quite sufficient if you have a patent application. That said, I would encourage you to file the patent application before you take your drawings to a vendor to make a prototype. Because if you are capable of making the prototype yourself, then that's fine. But if you're going to take it to a vendor to make a prototype, or to a manufacturer to make a prototype, then it's better that the patent application should be filed prior to taking it to the vendor. My contact details, yes sir, my contact details will be available. I will put it up for you, or Hari will put it up for you in the next couple of days. In some scenarios, someone using your patent, but he may not agree and you cannot prove it, what to do in these circumstances. It is very difficult in cutting edge technology, sir. As we reach the state of the art, it's difficult because several people will be working on the same problem, and probably they might by coincidence come up with the same solution, in which case it will be difficult to prove that someone has copied your invention or has stolen your invention or is infringing your invention. The way to do it is first that you must have sufficient documentation to prove that you are the true and first inventor of the patent. And secondly, that you have at some point either shared it or put it in the market, or have made it accessible to the person infringing it. So at some point, there has been some contact of that person who is infringing with your product or your lab or somebody who's working in your company. So these are the two things that you would have to prove, that you are the true and first inventor, and that the person who is infringing has somehow come in contact with your product. If you're able to do that, you can take it to court. As participants are interested to continue for a few more minutes, no problem, sir, I'm still here. Digital content developed for teaching. Digital content developed for teaching, is it copyrightable? Yes, it is. Yeah. It is copyrightable. If it is an inventive way of accessing the market or inventive way of reaching the customer, you might also get a patent, but we have to consider it. But digital content developed for teaching is certainly copyrightable. You might, for instance, a good example is how Amazon is monetizing on copyrights. So Amazon Kindle works on a very good copyright model. So, and it's all digital content. So as long as you are able to prove that you were the first person to put it on Kindle, and Kindle is accepting that you are the original, that it's an original work. So as an intermediary, Kindle is able to verify that that the content is original, that you are the person who generated the content, and Kindle is able to show that someone else who's trying to put the same product on the platform is infringing, then you are safe. So yes, digital content, and today digital content is huge because particularly for teaching, because as you see with the COVID crisis, and it's likely to continue, I think, for at least 6 months, I'm sure there's a huge opportunity in developing digital content and reaching it to students in an appropriate manner, in an attractive manner. What is the minimum time required for patent approval? We have got patents in 9 months and 12 months, but then we also have some patents which are pending for 4 years and 5 years. What can I say? There are two reasons. One, there is a long pendency in some domains like mechanical engineering and chemical engineering, which are old domains in India. They have a long pendency. So therefore, they may take longer for the examiner to examine. But say AI, which is probably 2-3 years old in the country, then we can get the patent quicker because the backlog is less, and examiners are probably much more clued in. So, and prior art is also less, so it takes less time. A researcher with a good idea should patent or publish his work. Okay, if you don't publish, you perish. If you don't patent also, you perish. So the way to do it, to look at it is like this. If there is a patent, if there is a technology that you are working on, the abstract science of it and the statistics can be published, and the technology and the industrial application has to be patented. Before publishing, please patent. Is that right? Yeah. As there are 58 responses for feedback, I request, okay, that's not for me. So, Hari, can you just find out? Yeah, I think. Yeah, who's the person who, Dr. Praveena, is it? Praveena, yeah. Yeah, Dr. Praveena, if you can tell me.
Yeah, ma'am, this is Deepika, ma'am. Due to some technical issues, ma'am has given me. This is Deepika.
Yes, ma'am. Please tell
me. Am I audible, ma'am?
Very, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, thank you, Swapna Sundar Garu, for your informative speech on IT law and strategy.
Thank you,
ma'am. The session was very much interactive, and your explanation regarding patents and copyrights, types of patents, intellectual property rights, trademarks, and design was very much informative.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your excellent session.
Thank you, ma'am.
We are very happy that we have successfully completed our Day 2 faculty development program. Now, I would like to brief you about the Day 2 faculty development program on research engine and tools by Mr. Hariprasad Karnam Garu, CEO IP Doma. The speaker will be focusing on industrial and patent research. Day 3 faculty development program will start at 11:30 a.m. and I request all the webinar participants to join the session by 11:15 a.m. I thank one and all for your gracious presence. So, Krishna Prasad sir, can you wind up or?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And thank you all for being so interactive.
Thanks, Swapna madam. I request all the participants to share your feedback. Feedback link share to your WhatsApp group and mails also. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Yeah, good session. Thank you, and good session. Okay. I request the organizers to please post Sundar madam contact so that we can have the further reference in, for patent. Hello.
Yes, sir. We will be posting it. We will be posting to your mail IDs as well as in WhatsApp group, sir.
Thank you. My name is Rajeshwar Rao. Please,
Yes, sir.
please.
To all the participants, it will be shared, sir.
Thank you. Through the mail you can share, madam.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Good session. Very informative session also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Here afterwards, you'll be finding all these things only. Thank you.